Can you guys hear me? I'm using my speaker's voice, which I don't really sometimes know how to actually get there. Listen, if somebody would have told me 3 years ago that I'd be standing on a stage talking to a room full of bright, smiling, shiny faces about technology, I would have said, you got the wrong girl. Number one, major fear of public speaking. But I have my crutch. I'm just going to stand behind the podium. It's a personal development goal that I've had for probably the last 5 or 6, 7 years, but 2017, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to do as many people who ask me to come out and speak, I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to do it. So that's why I'm here. I also never thought I had a story, and we talked about that during lunch today, trying to figure out what's your story? What can I actually bring to a room full of people? How can I help them make their lives better? I didn't have a story. I didn't feel like that a couple of years ago. And technology, I am far from an early adopter when it comes to technology. If I didn't have to have a 1 or 2 year old smartphone in order to be able to play virtual reality experiences, I probably wouldn't. I barely even know how to use it. I have to ask my 10-year-old daughter how to work the Roku when my husband's not around. Technology's never been something that I've been super excited about. But you know what? It's been part of my entire career. I have started my career out as an electrician in the Navy. I've worked on aircraft carriers and submarines and manufacturing them. I've worked with night vision goggles. I've done some amazing work, and I've helped really focus all of my energy on helping other people and keeping our nation safe and our emergency responders safe. And so that's something I'm so proud of myself, to be able to contribute in that way. But my real passion has always been to be an entrepreneur. And I never really knew how I was going to get there until in 2015, 3 years ago, I experienced virtual reality technology for the first time. And let me tell you something. When I got into this, I have the pleasure of having a fantastic business partner who has been a small business owner for 15, 16 years ahead of me. I didn't know what I was doing. The only thing I knew is that I experienced a technology that it was going to produce massive change, and it was going to help save people's lives. That's how I saw the connection. Didn't know how to use the technology, didn't know how to integrate the technology and get it into mainstream, use and show people how to use it. Didn't have any instructions, no plan book of how to do that. But you know what? Together, me and my business partner, we figured it out. And this is what we've learned over the last several years. We learned that virtual reality has the potential to do so much more than just gaming, entertainment, sports, marketing. It's got so much more potential than that. It's powerful enough that it is going to change how we live our lives every single day, and it's right around the corner. It's actually here. It's how we communicate, how we educate, and how we share our life experiences with others. I can't even fully grasp the impact that this technology is going to have, but I will guarantee you this: it is going to dwarf what personal computing, the internet, and what mobile devices have done. It is going to absolutely evolve all of our lives. Now, tech matters, but what's more important is how we actually apply technology to create massive change and massive impact. And that's why I'm here today. I want to talk about how we use this technology and the 3 things that we have used the technology for that is beyond any other comparison. 1, we use it now as an enhanced training aid. We want to prevent fatal and non-fatal injuries from occurring. And that is my why. I want to help save people's lives. And this technology is helping to do that. 2, This technology has the ability to teach critical skill development and empathy. This is not something you can just learn by listening to a podcast or taking a course. This is something you have to actually experience. These are things that you have to go through in real life situations in order to be able to develop. This technology can help achieve that. And the third is this technology has the ability to reduce cultural and language barriers. It gives us the ability to be able to walk in somebody else's shoes and experience life through somebody else's perspective. Now I want to talk about a few of the different types of content that I've had the privilege of being able to create just this year in 2017, and talk about some of the powerful benefits of VR. Let's start with workplace safety, and we'll use construction sites as an example. According to the Department of Labor, Latinos make up 25% of the construction industry, yet they have also statistically proven more than almost 30% of fatalities and workplace injuries are attributed to Latinos. And you got to ask yourself, why is that? When other ethnicities and injury rates are declining, why are Latino injury rates and deaths increasing? Disproportionately at that. My question is this: how do we drive injury rates and fatalities to zero? It begins with a new technology and a new training tool. Allowing people, no matter how much experience they have, no matter where they are, we can give them a tool to put on a virtual reality headset and explore a construction site, whether it's one of the major causes of deaths is slips, trips, and falls. Also, it's being stuck and crushed and suffocate in a trench. Now, if anybody doesn't know what that's like, we've created scenarios that depict real-life trench that can collapse. So what we're able to do is create a computer simulation of a trench and allow people to look around that trench and look for inherent hazards which can be found within a trench. And then we use sound effects, spatial audio, and visual cues, and if they're not able to identify the hazards in a particular amount of time, that trench actually begins to collapse in on them. And that is some powerful technology. What we want to do is we can't allow people to not experience hazards, but be able to experience them in a safe and meaningful way. We want somebody to be able to feel like they're physically in a particular space, where they're able to look around and look for icons and look for hazards and icon identification. And we don't have to use the written word to be able to depict this. We can just use icons. Now, this training isn't just for day laborers or people who've been in the workforce and in the construction industry for 10, 15 years. This is also for foremen and business owners, to get them to experience what it's like to be in a very hazard and potentially dangerous environment. Maybe they'll think twice about sending somebody who they know or may not know has the proper training that they need in order to be safe. Or maybe they'll think twice about cutting corners when it comes to turning a profit or finishing a project ahead of schedule and cut corners on safety. Maybe they'll think twice because when that trench collapses in on you, you feel it. This technology allows you to feel what that actually is like. And that, my friends, is extremely powerful. The next task happens to be working with child welfare professionals. How many of us, I think I heard one woman out here who happens to be a social worker. They are emergency response personnel. Whether we realize it or not, these people put themselves into harm's way every single day, and 9 out of 10 times, nobody's happy to see them when they're knocking on their door, because they're there to check on the welfare of a child or to check on somebody's personal being and welfare as well. What makes their job the most complicated is that if they misinterpret a situation, that can have catastrophic impact to families, to children, and to communities. So how can we better train these personnel for their careers? We can allow them to experience a day in the life of a social worker or a child welfare professional. We can provide them with various scenarios that they would experience out in the field. So what does this look like? By recreating scenarios with expert role modeling, we can show what expert role modeling of a home inspection looks like, where they can look all around and look for hazards within the home. They can identify what is wrong with this scene. I don't feel safe in this scene. We can help them to trust their gut instinct, and we can help them develop confidence and trust that that no matter the situation, we can help them experience different outcomes and how to get themselves into a more safe and meaningful situation. Social workers aren't able to go into homes carrying a weapon or mace or anything like that. Their only self-defense mechanism is either de-escalation techniques or critical skill development, unless they happen to know some like taekwondo or jiu-jitsu, which hopefully they don't have to use that. But nonetheless, by role-playing live experiences, we're able to help them develop these skills. We are able to help them understand what someone who might be suffering from suicidal thoughts or schizophrenia might be going through. Because with spatial sound, what does somebody with schizophrenia who has multiple voices going on in their head, what does that feel like? We can use blurred vision and tunnel vision and other effects that somebody that might be suffering from a mental illness or some other disorder might be experiencing. This technology gives us the power to be able to achieve that. And we can create so many different opportunities for social workers and child welfare professionals to be able to practice multiple different types of scenarios. Now I want to talk about motorcycle or distracted driver training. How many in this audience, how many of you have either lost somebody you love or know somebody who has died in a motorcycle or car accident? Can I see your, I did. I'm with you. I lost my big brother at 23. See, most people don't ever go back to school once they've got their motorcycle safety license or their license in order to be able to drive a vehicle. And why should they? I haven't had an accident in 10, 15, 20 years. I'm good. There's no reason for me to go back and learn about safety. But according to the Department of Transportation, 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are due to other motorists. It's other motorists not paying attention to motorcyclists out on the road. So do you guys really think more strict helmet laws are going to help save more motorcycle lives? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not going to stand up here and judge one way or another. But what I do know is that we have a solution, and it involves enhanced training using live experiences for all motorists. It's these traditional methods that are not working, folks. These traditional training methods just aren't enough. So how do we come up with a solution that's fun, that's engaging, that puts people in real scenarios and lets them understand from a different perspective, from the perspective of a motorcyclist, what it's like to ride safely and what are the things that people need to be aware of while they're out on the roadway? If you've never driven a motorcycle before, how can you relate to the hazards that are on the roadway? Put yourself in someone else's shoes. I want to help drive injury and fatality rates to 0. How many of you think that that is impossible to do? How many of you think that's impossible? I don't think it's impossible. And you know what? My company, we're willing to try to help, and we're using virtual reality technology to be able to do that. I stand here today, not that I have all the answers, not that I have this an abundant amount of confidence. I stand here as somebody who, no matter what, wants to make a difference. So with my last couple of minutes, I want to talk about a poem that I keep with me in my journal everywhere that I go. It's the book that I carry with me everywhere I go. And it's by Theodore Roosevelt. And it's called Man in the Arena. But I have recoined it Woman in the Arena. It's not the critic who counts, not the woman who points out how the strong woman stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, and who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails with daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. What's holding you guys back from sharing your story? Be brave, take risks, and never stop improving. Thank you.